Started today with a public hearing. Our Economic Development Coordinator Lou Perillo, is going to get us started to introduce the topic of the public hearing, and then we're going to roll into the public hearing after Lou's introduction. So if you guys can do me a favor and just let the people outside know to just, maybe just be a little bit quieter so we can get through this. Thanks.
Could you put the microphone in front of you?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Lou Perillo. I'm the town's Economic Development Director. And tonight we have a public hearing introducing a tax abatement plan for the municipal improvement tax abatement outside of the enterprise zone. This abatement was reviewed by the Economic Development Strike Committee meeting on December 21st, and they unanimously recommended the approval before your board here tonight.
Lou, would you check your mic and just tell me if it's working? It is. Okay, maybe just speak. Have them just turn the mics up a little bit so everybody can hear. Thank you, Lou.
Okay, sure. Okay, the purpose of tonight's... No, a little loud now.
That's better, yeah. That's good.
Purpose of tonight's public hearing is to introduce this tax abatement. It's a tax partnership program. As you know, we have an enterprise zone, which is primarily on the north end of the town, north side of 84. This abatement is for anywhere in town for real property improvements. The investment has to be more than $200,000. It's for a specific class of businesses. As you know, the town has had, as an economic development strategy, a recreation destination platform. We feel the value of recreation destination brings a multiplier effect to our town. So for example, Lake Compounce brings in about 700,000 attendees per year. To try to get a volume of 700,000 to our community would be a challenging task. The fact that it's already here, it's easier to build upon. I think if COVID taught us anything, when we lost all those jobs and those businesses, the government had to infuse trillions of dollars to keep everything afloat. So these tax abatements are not gifts. They do not reduce taxes. I want to make that clear. What they do is it's a reduction of the increase in taxes. You have to make an investment, and the town will abate a portion of taxes. If you were within the enterprise zone, because of the state program, you would qualify for it. So if you're outside the enterprise zone, you get penalized. So what we're trying to do is add a little bit of parity, keep some businesses going, especially on the recreation destination. So for example, Mount Southington draws about 100,000 visitors a year, well, actually within about a 3-month period. To try to get that, to try to create a ski area, we're so fortunate to already have it. Not only because of the amenity it provides, but look at the jobs it provides. I remember as a kid I worked there and got to ski there right in our own backyard. So, and it also has some pretty interesting dynamics to it that you might not even correlate. So for example, Target and Lowe's, the developer of Target and Lowe's lives in New York City. He brought his daughter to Mount Southington to ski on Monday night races. So when he would drop her off, he'd go grab something to eat, and he had to go to Queen Street, and he kept driving by exit 31, and he's like, someone should do something. And he was that someone. You have a $20 million investment plus, you have a lot of jobs, and more importantly, you have some resources for the town to go shopping at. So these are the reasons we have it. To get into the specifics, it applies to specific North American Industrial Code classifications for sports and recreation instruction, dinner theaters and theater companies, sports team and clubs, amusement and theme parks, and skiing facilities. This isn't really a new abatement. This is something we've had in the past. We bring it back. Our abatements sunset so that we can modify them or let them die if there aren't any people who would take advantage. We think right now Lake Compounce and Mount Southington would take advantage of these. We're hoping to attract a dinner theater. I'm working on trying to attract a sports club. And we've also included a vacancy of more than 1 year to incentivize the redevelopment or reuse of Lincoln College campus. And I'm here for any questions you may have.
Okay. Any questions for the Economic Development Coordinator? From the council? Yes. Val.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
If I could just remind everybody, we're going to try extra hard to speak into the mics a little louder today so that the people who are outside the door can hear what's going on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lou, for the Just two questions. At the strike committee, did you have a conversation about adding personal property? Or it
I
was
don't
just
recall
real
if we did.
property
It was just real property at this time.
So no consideration for,
At this time, during that meeting, no.
okay. And then I know for the enterprise, for the real property that's new to the grand list, it's a decreasing scale. You know, this one is 50% for 5 years. Was there any talk about starting a little higher and then decreasing that?
We had that in the past, but in the enterprise zone, I don't want to mislead you. If you're a manufacturer, it's 80% tax abatement for 5 years straight. If it's a commercial, then it's just real property only. Then it's a
And-
declining balance,
and it's
100% for the first 2 years, then 50%, 40%, 30%, and 20% and 10%.
And that's a 7-year.
7-year
Okay, so
abatement.
this is your 5-year abatement, 200,000 and over,
Minimum investment, correct.
minimum investment, 50%, 5 years.
Correct,
Okay, and just real property.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
But we would entertain personal property if you are so
I
inclined.
was wondering if it was discussed at the, okay, thank you.
Also, Councilwoman DiPaolo, good?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Mr. Chair, Lou, thanks for the presentation. I sit on the Economic Strike Committee, and Lou's always working very hard to try to bring people into Southington, and the recreation destination's been going on for years. Places like Lake Compounds, places like Mount Southington, to bring in, 800,000 people a year. These folks need to eat, they need to stop and get gas, sometimes they stay at the hotels. So giving a little bit back to these companies, especially for Lake Compounds and Mount Southington, who are here now, and they're both doing very well, we want to continue that. We want them to reinvest into their property and do more for the town. So that's the whole idea here.
Wonderful.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
We're also
Mr. Town Manager?
We're also suggesting June 30th, 2026 as your sunset date. We've been using June 30th, but 2026 is our sunset date.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Any other questions for Lou before we open it up?
Mr. Chair.
Please.
just one other. If the applicant is in that program, that's the only program that
Correct.
they would be allowed to be in.
Our tax abatements are specifically usually just one, and it's at the purview of the town council, so you could decline it for any reason that you so see fit.
Thank you.
So it's strictly at the purview of the town council.
Okay, thank
So
you.
one tax abatement at any given time for a single business.
That's always been our policy.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Once, twice? Okay. If there's none, thank you, Lou, and we're going to open it up for the public now. If there's anybody who is a resident or an employee of the town in Southington that wants to speak at the public hearing regarding the ordinance before us about tax abatements, you can come forward now to the podium. Why don't you line up right here? Okay. If anybody, can folks do me a favor? Can you just ask the people in the hallway if anybody wants to speak regarding the tax abatement ordinance public hearing, so we can be sure? All set? Okay, Mike, you want to speak about the tax abatement? Come on up, Mr. Schneider. You have to state your name and address for the record, please.
Michael Schneider, 405 Loper Street, Southington. With 800,000 people extra coming into this town through all this going on, are any provisions made for public safety? That is my question.
Thank you. Because it's a public hearing, what we'll do is we will take the questions and we'll ask the Economic Development Coordinator to come back up and provide responses. So thanks, we'll get you that. Anybody else want to speak about the tax abatement ordinance? Please, come on up. Usually we don't get a lot of people on these ordinances, so we're thankful that while we have people here, that we get some perspectives. Please, name and address for the record.
Yeah, Annette Carbone. I'm at 284 Summer Street in Plantsville. I just had some questions. I just didn't know much about this. I know it has a limited scope and it's focused on trying to get, more recreational activities, like support the businesses that support our community and bring other revenue. I just didn't know, like, in terms of the application process, is it sort of an ongoing, open process? The other thing is there a cap? Like, because eventually we're abating the tax increase or the actual taxes? I'm not quite sure on that. Like, is there a cap in terms of the budget? I understand, I'm not, it's going to cost something to benefit us in the long run, so I understand that. But I just wanted to know what the process is in terms of who makes the decisions on who gets this abatement, and also just, is there a cap to that? And can the public, have some, is there some transparency so that the public can see who these abatements are going to, and not just like after the fact, but maybe during that process? So,
Thank you.
Yeah,
We'll get those answered for you.
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carbone. Anybody else want to talk about the tax abatement ordinance? Going once, twice. Do you see any reason to keep or should we have Lou back up first, right? Lou, why don't you answer some of the questions? We heard, with the increase of, bringing people into the town for recreation, are we considering public safety? Maybe that's something you could talk to. Maybe the town manager might also have a comment on that. And then the second thing from Ms. Carbone was application process. What is it? Is there a cap? Is it always open and ongoing, or are there certain times? And then also, how do we provide transparency in the process?
Great questions. As far as public safety, it goes along with any other business that's in there. Lake compounds in Mount Southington are viable businesses in town. They have their protocols. I'm sure they work within the system with the fire department, building department, and whatnot. So someone else, such as the town manager, could further answer that. But as far as traffic goes, most of the traffic coming off of an interstate highway onto a state road and into Bristol for their main access. And then there was an employee lot off of Mount Vernon Road. So I think it would be in the normal course of business. There's over 75,000 cars a day on I-84. I don't think it would be built without oversight by DOTs, OSTA and whatnot. But as far as public safety, again, I would defer that to the appropriate authorities that manage that. As far as Ms. Carbone.
Lou, just on the
question?
public safety, I'm sorry to interrupt. Just for the town manager, do you want to make any additional?
Part of any building process, if somebody adds something like compounds or ski area or anybody else, it's part of the zoning process. So zoning permits would be referenced to, in this case, the fire department. The police department is always involved in that process. But the bottom line is, to develop anything in town, especially something at lake compounds or at the ski area, is a zoning permit. The zoning permit has to be reviewed by the building department, the planning department, the health department, the fire department. So that's all part of the process.
And I think if I'm reading between the lines, there's no specific application before us, so it's difficult to say what those would be, but there is a review process once something comes before
Lake
us.
Compounds wants to put a new ride up, or whatever the case may be, on the Southington side. It has to go through this process just like you were building a house.
Very good. Thank you.
And also health department is involved with lake compounds as well, like with the wave pool and whatnot.
Yep.
With their inspections.
Okay.
As far as the application process, an application would come through my office. We could vet it either through the strike committee or directly to this. Usually we vet it through the strike committee. It's a public meeting. This is also a public meeting where the process would be discussed. I want to be very clear. We don't take taxes away that we're already getting. This is a reduction in the increase in taxes from their investment. So we do not have a limit or a cap. That would be subject to this body and whatever application. But if someone wanted to invest $20 million in our community for a recreation facility, this body would be able to modify it at their purview, but it would be public. And we don't have the tax revenue now. It would be an adjustment from the increase in the taxes that would be rendered. So if someone had a tax bill of $1 million or $10,000, the abatement would be $5,000 off or $500,000 off. But the investment's what we're actually looking for. So we have not capped it because it's new revenue to the community, and we're just taking a reduction like a coupon or a rebate from a small percentage of it. So for folks that are starting a new business, or actually let me go back to like the lake compounds example. If you don't create new rides, then your business gets a little bit stale. It's the new attractions that keep people coming. If Mount Southington doesn't reinvest some of their proceeds, there's only so much you could do, but you create excitement with new investment. Most businesses end up reinvesting back into their business so it can grow. And that's what this basically is for. We've restricted it to recreation because we feel that the enterprise zone handles the manufacturers and the commercial areas quite well. And then for this, by recreation, we're looking for the multiplier effect. When someone comes into our town skiing, they might forget their gloves or hat and have to run to the store to get it. If, they go to dinner afterwards, the hotels used to run ski and stay or play and stay promotions where you stay at a hotel overnight or for 2 nights and they'd give you tickets to lake compounds or the ski area. So that's the investment we're trying to make. If it makes our hotels more viable, that's what we're really looking for. Hotels are for pretty much the biggest bang for our buck. They pay about $150,000 to $250,000, primarily on about 1.5 acres of land, at least initially. So if we could keep these businesses strong and keep people coming to Southington, that's the intent of this. And there really isn't a cost to us, because if they don't invest, then, their taxes are going to go down eventually from the, depreciation of their assets.
And can you explain the difference between the different tax types? So we talked about real property. Can you talk about specifically what is being taxed and what is not? And then what's the percentage in the term again, just for clarification?
The percentage in the term is 50% for 5 years. Real property improvements are land improvements only. Personal property would be equipment, trucks, vans, that kind of a thing. It gets a little dicey when you start talking about chairlifts because it's permanently affixed to the land. Is it going to be equipment or is it going to be a real property improvement? Same thing with a ride because they can come down, but that's for this body to decide.
And then the last one was the transparency in the process. How can people learn about when people file for these and when these come up for review?
An application will be submitted through my office. We could vet it through the Economic Development Strike Committee. They could give their recommendation to the council. It would be noted here as any other transparent body that comes, or application that comes before
On the agenda.
new business for the agenda.
So keep an eye on the agendas. If there's tax abatements, they would be on the agenda listed as a tax abatement with the information there, and you could come out and speak at that meeting. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else, Lou?
No, just very similar to when we do the tax abatements like you did at the last meeting for the enterprise zone. It's all public. You get to see what the investment is. Oftentimes during the strike committee, we request that they come before the committee and even before the council, just to, brag about their business, show them they're excited, they want to come. So, and that's
As we
what it's
mentioned,
about.
this is a proven commodity. We had this before.
Yeah.
So this is something that we had out there, was very successful. We let it lapse, obviously. Now there's more interest in it, so we're bringing it back again.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any
Thank you.
other questions for the Economic Development Coordinator before we move on? Okay, last call. Anybody else want to speak on this before we close the public hearing? Last call? Okay, we're going to close the public hearing, and we're going to move into our regular meeting. What we're going to do is we're going to have a roll call, and then we're going to have a prayer and a flag salute, the Pledge of Allegiance. Amy, is it possible that when we all stand for the pledge, that our cheerleading team can start us with the Pledge of Allegiance? Start us off? I'll give you the thumbs up. Okay. All right, so let's go to the roll call. Madam Town Clerk.
Valerie DiPaolo. Here. William Diedzik. James Morelli.
Here.
Toni Morrison.
Here.
Christopher Palmieri.
Here.
Jack Perry. Jennifer Klock.
Here.
Michael Del Santo.
Present.
Paul Chaplinsky.
Here, I did hear from Councilman Perry, who is away and unable to attend, and Councilman Dietzick called in and said he was unable to make today's meeting as well. So we have a quorum. Let's please stand for the prayer and the flag salute.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening asking for your direction and guidance. Keep us focused tonight on what is best for Southington and her people. Amen.
Amen. Okay, you ready? Thank you. And Lou, maybe you can hit the projector for me and the, or Mark, and the screen to get that warmed up. Okay. We are moving on to item number 2 before we get to the Venom cheerleaders, which is our meeting minutes from the last meeting. I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Councilman Palmieri and Councilman Morelli. Thank you. We have a motion, and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes 7-0. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move into a very exciting topic. Amy Wernicke's going to come up and talk to us, give us a brief introduction, a little bit about the Venom Cheer team. We don't often have an opportunity to have wonderful young folks here who are doing great things in our community come to our meetings. So thank you for coming out, and hopefully we can have an opportunity to hear a little bit about your journey, what the Venom Cheer teams are, what they do, and tell us a little bit about the competitions that you've been involved in, and maybe a little bit about what we heard that maybe some people won and went to nationals and things like that. And then after we're done with the presentation, we're going to have, we'll turn the lights on and we'll have a short congratulations with some awards, okay? All right. Ms. Wernicke, we're going to turn it over to you. It's exciting times. Those are tears of joy, right?
She cries at everything, don't
All
worry.
right, good for you.
So as I was introduced, my name is Amy Wernicke. I started as a cheerleading coach 30 years ago over in Bristol with the Bristol Bulldogs and their Pop Warner program, and I'm really excited to be able to talk to you about the program that we've now developed here in Southington. So Southington Valley Venom is part of SVMFL, and SVMFL is located at Recreation Park here in town, and we just celebrated our 60th year of offering youth football. We are a competitive cheer program that was established in 2021. Prior to that, you may have, if you grew up in the town of Southington and played at Rec Park, you may remember that we used to have Broncos cheerleaders and Raiders cheerleaders and all the NFL cheerleaders. In 2021, we turned around and we made it not only a cheering at football games, we also turned it into a competitive program. We're part of Pop Warner, and specifically, we're part of Southern Connecticut. What is unique about us is that we started with one competitive team. Each year, we've added an additional competitive team. So this year, we had 3 teams. Our Mighty Mites were ages 7 to 9. They placed 3rd at leagues, which is everyone in Southern, and then they took 6th at Connecticut State. We had 15 athletes that were able to try competitive cheer for the first time ever. And we offered spring cheer, which was brand new last year, to 38 athletes. So we had a number of kids who were like, I'd like to try, but not like do the whole commitment. So they were able to come out and not only learn about football, they cheered for our flag team, our powder puff teams on the weekends, and really got an opportunity to learn a little bit more about it. We have 5 coaches in our programs. Ashley Pelletier is our program director. She's the one who spearheaded this, making us a competitive program 3 years ago. Myself, I am one of our head coaches. We have Chantal Mazika as an assistant coach, Emily Triano as an assistant coach. Neither of them could attend with us tonight. And then we have Maggie Wernicke, who is a high school senior here, who is our junior coach. And unfortunately, she's sick too. So one of the best things about our program that makes us really, really unique is we have a cheer abilities team that people don't realize. So our cheer abilities provides an athletic opportunity for athletes between the ages of 5 and 17. They do follow the ADA requirements in Special Olympics in that they must have a physical or mental disability in order to participate. We were established in 2022, so this was our 2nd season. We're one of only 3 programs in the entire state of Connecticut, and we're the only one not on the shore. So there's 2 programs down at our shoreline, but we service pretty much the entire state of Connecticut, as well as Massachusetts. So there's no programs in Southern Mass. They would come down to us if they wanted to participate. And this year, there were only 4 teams in the entire nation for cheer abilities that went to nationals. And one of the great things about not only giving these athletes an opportunity to learn about cheer and participate and be competitive, it also provides an opportunity for our older athletes to volunteer to help on those teams. So this year we had 3 student athletes who came down and they help to make sure things are being taught properly, that they're safe, that every cheer ability athlete has in essence, a partner, so that, like, if they're nervous and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to be in front of all these people for the first time ever, they know they have someone right by their side to help with them. And then this year, we also had a JV team. Our junior varsity team is athletes between the ages of 10 and 13. We placed first in show cheer. So if you've ever been to a youth football game or a high school football game, this is what you see, show cheer is what you see on TV with ESPN. So if you've ever seen on ESPN the cheerleaders throwing crazy stunts, we're not that good, but we strive to be. That's what this is. It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds of music, nonstop. And they came in first at a couple of our different competitions, and they also got a bid to what's called Globals, which is in February. We're choosing not to go because it's a financial commitment. But that's where you get to go up against not only people from Pop Warner, but you get to actually compete against American Youth Cheer. You get to compete against rec programs from across the country. Then we turned around and we said, well, we're not busy enough. Let's throw in sideline cheer. Sideline cheer is what you see at football games. So if you've ever been to Southington High School football game or a town you grew up in, chances are you saw cheerleaders doing a cheer on the sideline. That's what this is. So it's really tying in, how do you get the crowd involved? How do you get team spirit? And how do you make people want to watch you, not watch what's going on around you? And so we went all the way to New England Regionals for the third year in a row with this age group. And this year, we performed both our music routine and our sideline routine. And our sideline routine came in first, and we advanced to nationals held down in Orlando. And we are excited to say that we came home national champs for a sideline small division.
Woo! Nice job.
And as you can see, we are very small but mighty. We had 7 athletes on this team, and our cheer abilities team had 3. So even in the small division, it goes up till 16. So we were up against teams of 16, and we held our own.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank
Congratulations. Lou? Chris, you want to join me? You want to join me?
So cheer abilities stand together and JV stand together, please.
Yeah, everybody come on up. We have the cheer abilities first. What I'd like to do is we'll invite you up. I'll call you by name. I'll give you a citation. I'll read that to you. Maybe what we'll do is we'll have everybody kind of come up here first, and then Amy, maybe you can help me hand them out. Sure. Okay. So we'll start with the cheer abilities. When I get to the last one, I'll read it so that everybody can have it. Okay. The cheer abilities coach, Chantel Mazeka. Chantel, okay. Brian Pelletier. Stay up here. Savannah Sarah. Brianna Tice. You were Nikki, coach. All right, you know what, I'm gonna read. Okay, so the chair abilities citation reads, Town Council citation, be it hereby known to all that the Southington Town Council hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to your names. This one is the Venom JV sideline and cheer ability team. The Southington Town Council hereby recognizes and congratulates the Southington Valley Midget Football League, and more specifically, the Southington Valley Venom Cheer, for their outstanding achievement. In just 3 years, the competition team has progressed 3 times to the New England Regional Pop Warner competition and competed, capturing numerous titles. In 2023, the cheerleading program sent 2 teams to national competitions where they showcased remarkable dedication and talent, with Southington's JV sideline cheerleading team winning the national championship. Congratulations on a well done and representing Southington in remarkable ways. Best of luck for continued success. given the 22nd day of January 2024, Town of Southington, State of Connecticut, Paul Chaplinsky, Town Council Chairman, and Jack Perry, Councilman, who's absent today. So congratulations. Okay, now we're going to do the JV Sideline National Champion team. Annalise Bartholet, did I say that right? Congratulations. Jada Clark. Talia Gibson. Kyla Mazeka LaBelle. It's a school night. Oliviana Lusmore. Callie Pelletier. Ashley Pelletier. Olivia Raymond. We have Emily Troiano and Maggie Wernicke. Excellent. You'll pass them for us? So, yeah, I'll read this one as well. Town Council citation, be it hereby known to all that the Southington Town Council hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to the name of the JV sideline team. The Southington Town Council hereby recognizes and congratulates the Southington Valley Midget Football League, and more specifically, the Southington Valley Venom Cheer, for their outstanding achievement. In just 3 years, the competition team has progressed 3 times to the New England Regional Pop Warner competition and competed, capturing numerous titles. In 2023, the cheerleading program sent 2 teams to national champions where they showcased remarkable dedication and talent, with the Southington's JV sideline cheerleading team winning the national championship. Congratulations on a job well done in representing Southington in remarkable ways. Best of luck for continued success, given the 22nd day of January 2024, Town of Southington, State of Connecticut, Paul Chaplinsky, Council Chairman, and Jack Perry, Councilman. Congratulations. If it's okay, let's get the council to maybe stand back here and let's take a picture. If there's anybody from the media that's out there that wants to take a photo too, we can.
Mr. Chair, I understand the team is going to do a pyramid. I'm going to be on the top.
You're on top.
I'm on the top. Get ready.
Listen, may have been 22 years ago, but I competed on ESPN. I got you.
Here's a,
Aggressive.
Aggressive. You clearly grew up there.
you want to take a picture?
Just slide them over a little bit to their center with you guys.
Here, you guys move this way.
Everybody get one? Good? Okay, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, if we can help the cheerleading team make their way through the crowd, that'd be great. And it also frees up some space here for anybody who wants to move down. It'd be great if we can get some people out of the doorways and sitting down. Come on, everybody. Come on down. Fill in the chairs. Especially those in front of the doors, please. And Mark, we don't have any other presentations, right? Mark,
Executive session.
we can kill, oh, yeah, okay. We can kill the.
He's gonna kill it, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Good?
It'll go up on its own eventually.
Okay, we're going to move into regular business for item number 4, councilperson communications. Does anybody have anything they want to communicate?
Mr. Chair, I have something.
Yes, Councilman Del Santo.
Councilman Morelli and I were able to attend the Elks Club on Saturday evening, where they do this yearly. They honored Southington veterans. You had to be from Southington. It was a lovely event, just honoring our veterans, as always, very patriotic, and it's very important that we continue to do this. There were all walks of life there, veterans that were in their late 20s up until their late 80s. So it was another wonderful event we're able to attend, and we're able to give a citation to the Elks Club, who support our veterans.
Excellent. Thank you, and thank you both for attending and delivering the proclamation. Anybody else who would like to?
Mr. Chair, thank you so much. So I was able to attend, along with Councilor Palmieri, the Martin Luther King celebration at First Baptist Church. So this was the 26th annual Martin Luther King celebration at First Baptist Church. Attorney General William Tong spoke and did a phenomenal job as a keynote speaker. Two of our middle school students were recognized. I know Councilor Palmieri will probably talk about them. And I just wanted to really thank Reverend Sharon Holt and all the members at the First Baptist Church that really work hard to, put this celebration on every year. And, I just think it's so important. I think Martin Luther King's, I think his words are as prevalent today as they were. I think it's about 56 years since, he did his speech, I Have a Dream speech. So just a big shout out to them for continuing to do that.
Thank you, Councilwoman DiPaolo. Other communication? Yes.
Sure, just to build on
Councilman
that.
Palmieri.
It really was a great event. I'm glad we were both able to attend. The students, I'd just like to give a shout out from DePaulo Middle School. Neo Reyes was recognized. He's an 8th grade student, again, at DePaulo Middle School. And Lila Gilbert was recognized from Kennedy Middle School. She's also an 8th grader. And really, the award is for students that exemplify the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King. So again, I'm grateful for the church for holding this tradition for 26 years now. It was really incredible, as you mentioned, to hear the Attorney General speak, especially when it came to immigration and talking a little bit about his own history and some of what he's doing to fight for us at the state level. So that was great. A couple other things, quick things. I had the pleasure to attend some of the Board of Ed budget workshops. I think this year they were recorded, so I know a couple of us were there. If for some reason members weren't able to make it and they want to see some of what was discussed, they did record them this year. So I'd encourage you to look back at that for the upcoming Board of Education budget. Just an update. I'm wondering if we can get an update on where we stand with the battery storage, not necessarily tonight, but I know we tabled that issue at the council level. I'm talking about the battery units for Kennedy and DePaulo Middle School. Since then, I actually, on site at DePaulo, showed a couple board members, including Chair Clark, some of what we discussed here. So I'm just curious if we can maybe for a future agenda get some follow up on that. It is an opportunity for us, so I don't want to see that slip through the cracks if that's something we on the board are interested in pursuing.
I think on that topic, we left the agenda topic open, and it's in their hands to come back if there's another proposal.
Okay.
Versus us going out to them. I think it'd be more appropriate if they have a new proposal or new information or something, they can reach out and we can look to see whether that's something to add to the agenda or not.
All right, so maybe I'll follow up with the chair. Like I said, I met with her, so maybe I'll follow up with her then, and if that's okay with you.
Fair.
Just to follow up, okay. Just another, I know we all received an email from Unico. They are doing a fundraiser for Valentine's Day. It is a gift bag fundraiser, which includes gift certificates to some local restaurants, bottles of wine. It really is for a good cause, and half of their proceeds go for Southington Bread for Life. So if anyone's interested in participating in the Southington Unico Valentine's Day fundraiser, you can go online. There is an online link to to make those purchases. They do need to be pre-ordered so they can be prepared in time for the pickup. So I encourage you to go online and look for that if you're interested in participating. And lastly, just to follow up, Councilwoman DiPaolo had mentioned, and I think an article that I saw in the Record Journal kind of goes along with some of what Councilwoman DiPaolo brought up. And I'm wondering if we can take a look at some of our housing in town. And what especially caused concern to me, this was the Record Journal article last week, January 16th, evictions becoming more common in Connecticut. But what it's telling is some of the other towns, and it does cite Meriden, Wallingford, Southington, and Cheshire, there were decreases in the number of evictions, whereas Southington remained stagnant from 2022 to 2023. Whereas, the other neighboring communities, they did see a decrease in that. So I know we've talked about housing. It just try to keep that in the forefront. That is a topic that I think we should, as a council, continue to explore and look for viable options for some of our residents. If that's something we'd consider, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman Palmieri. Anybody else? I did get my gift bag, Chris.
Oh, good.
I ordered it. Hopefully my wife's not watching.
Okay.
If she is, you may or may not have a gift bag coming. All right. Okay, anybody else, councilperson communications? Once, twice? Nobody? I got a couple items. We received an email today from Michelle Puzo with Your Community Cares, and I sent it along, Mr. Town Manager, to you and asked if you wouldn't mind putting it into the record for today. Your Community Cares is UR, and they are a organization that connects people in communities like ours and other communities who are looking to do volunteer work, people who have time to help either mow lawns, do grocery shopping, spend some time with an elderly person, a disabled person, and also uses an appointment tool to also provide for those people who need that assistance. So Your Community Cares is always looking for volunteers and also looking to partner with organizations, churches, civic groups, et cetera. So if you know anybody who may be interested in helping to promote Your Community Cares or is interested in volunteering, you can check our meeting minutes for contact information or go on their website. Chris, I think you mentioned their budget process started. Our superintendent of schools, I think we've mentioned this in the last couple town council meetings. It's an unprecedented budget year, to say the least, with respect to the revenue side. It is going to be a difficult budget cycle because of the revenues versus what the expected increases are. Board of Ed has already presented their budget. The superintendent has presented his budget to the Board of Ed. They're now going to do some workshops and work through the Board of Ed budget. If you are interested in getting involved, our town manager is going to have his budget provided here in the next couple meetings.
15th.
The 15th.
February.
Yeah, okay, good. 3 meetings. Get yourself involved. Come to future town council meetings or Board of Ed meetings. If you have, some perspectives one way or another, get active in the community and speak up if you have an opinion on that. We are posting the town manager's position this week, and I reached out to Chris and Mike. We have to put some times on our slot so that we can go through resumes once the resumes start flowing. Our hope is that during the months of February and March, we'll have a steady flow of applications that we can review for the town manager coming in the month, I think it'll be the month of June-ish, give or take a little bit, hopefully. And, sorry.
Earlier than that, but that's all right.
Yeah, it could be a little bit earlier than that. They have to be on board by June 30th, so maybe the 29th. So keep your eyes open for that. More to follow. And then the last item is I had the great pleasure on Friday of this past week of attending the Kid Governor Award, the Kid Governor inauguration, where Southington has, again, for the second time, from Oceana School, Cristiano Almeida was sworn in as the Connecticut Kid Governor for 2024. He has a cabinet of 6 members that will support him carrying out his platform, which is related to health and wellness. and the cabinet's going to work with some of the state leaders at the state capitol to help him execute that across the entire state. And then vice versa, Cristiano is going to work with the cabinet members on some of their initiatives, and he's going to help them implement some of those as well. So it was really great. Cristiano is, like I said, the second person from Oceana in the last few years to get this award. And more to come on that. I've spoken to Cristiano and his parents at the ceremony on Friday, and we'd like to have him out here at a council meeting to maybe present his platform, tell us about what he's doing, and how we at Southington can support him as well. So more to come on that.
Can I just add one thing to that?
Absolutely.
Just a shout out to Sandy Chavez, who's the teacher, the teacher at Oceana that's really spearheaded this initiative for
Absolutely.
the school. So, and both were her students. So just a special
It's
shout out to
amazing.
her.
She's done a wonderful job. Thank you, Sandy. And the school principal, Mrs. Rogala, as well, who's been a great support for all the students who are trying to vie for this as well. So thank you to the staff at Oceana and all of those volunteers who are helping. Okay. Anything else on councilperson communications before we go on to report of special committees? We have 3 reports. Hearing none, let's move on to item A, apple harvest.
Brief meeting, but a couple things of note to report. First of all, we officially set the 2024 Apple Harvest Festival dates. Those are October 4th, 5th, and 6th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. So those of you from Southington know we always end with Columbus Day, Indigenous People Day weekend. So that's the 14th of October. So again, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. So we have officially set those dates for 2024. The other thing we did is we had put out, as I mentioned at the last council meeting, we were going out to bid. We looked for proposals. We have 3 staff members affiliated with the Apple Harvest Festival. We have a coordinator, we have an assistant coordinator, and we have a sponsorship coordinator. We looked for proposals for 2 of the 3. The reason we did for 2 of them is because they were suggesting changes in the proposals. Our sponsorship coordinator the contract is the same as it was last year, so therefore we didn't go out to bid because there was no change suggested. This year we did a little differently. We gave the opportunity for both the coordinator and an assistant coordinator to submit a bid for either 1 year or 2 years. Traditionally, it's been an annual award. So both submitted proposals for the 2024 festival and 2025 festival. The proposal we received for the coordinator was from Dave LaPrey, looking for $25,000 annually to be the Apple Harvest Festival coordinator. That is up from $18,500, which is what was in the budget, the Apple Harvest budget for the 2023 festival. It's important to point that out. This does not come out of our municipal budget. This comes out of a budget entirely raised funds that are from the Apple Harvest Festival itself. So again, the suggestion for the Apple Harvest Festival coordinator is for $25,000. The committee met and unanimously supported the recommendation of Dave LaPrey for the 2024-2025 festival of $25,000. That'll be on for action later in the agenda. Next, we received a proposal from the assistant festival coordinator, Lara Nichols. She also submitted a proposal for the 2024 festival and 2025 festival at a rate of $7,500 annually. For the next 2 years, that is up from $5,000 for this past year. And that's Lara Nichols. Once again, the committee unanimously recommended supporting Lara Nichols for the role of assistant festival coordinator. Once again, those funds come directly out of the festival budget, not anywhere but funds raised from the festival. And finally, we received a proposed contract from Melissa Kakuza, who has been our Apple Harvest Festival sponsorship coordinator. Hers is a little different. She's not paid a flat rate. Hers is commission-based. So she is looking for 25% of gross commissions on sponsorships We do give things like an advance of $5,000 so she can start the sponsorships rolling, but that comes out of the commissions that she earns. And that's paid as the sponsorships come in through the finance department. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Councilman Palmieri? Apple harvest related. Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to item B, sewer. Tony.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, it's quite a busy sewer committee meeting. Several important issues. The first is the collections issue. We have, was brought to our attention, we roughly have about nearly $2 million that's uncollected in terms of rates. It's been built up over quite a while. And the simple reason for that is that we collect rates. Our collection policy is essentially to put an interest payment of like 12% on your rates if you're overdue, if you haven't paid, and that usually incents people to pay it. Well, it hasn't for quite a few people, to give you a sense of where this has taken us, we had 5 people in town who we put liens on house also, but the lien, according to state law, has to go after 15 years. And we had some people coming up in their last year of this, and they owed quite a bit of money. And we really can't let it get to that point. It's not good for us in terms of revenue, in terms of collecting the rates, and it's not good for the people themselves. They ignore the sewer bill one year, they forget it and they don't pay it. So we believe we need to crisp up our policy. I won't talk about what we're going to do because we need to have some more research into it. We asked the water board if they would, my water commission, it's a separate commission in town, but we asked them, they don't have a problem with collection because they cut off your water after a certain point in time. We can't cut off the sewers for obvious reasons, but we asked the water board if we could pair up and maybe cut off the water to some of our sewer residents who aren't paying. We're also looking at other towns to see what collection policies they have. The amount of money is about $600,000 that's outstanding, but if you add the interest payments onto that the people owe, it's probably about 1.8 million, nearly 2 million. So that'll be handled in the next couple of months. It'll take about a year to gradually make it a more manageable collection. Okay, secondly, in terms of projects we're on, plant upgrade that we did recently, $50 million, there were some issues with the tanks. They're being remedied as we speak. It'll be finished April 1st. We don't have to pay for it because we didn't do it. It's taken off the contractor's bond. Secondly, we have an old sewer plant in town. You probably don't know where it is because it's kind of hidden, but it's up near Sliders. And we just want to make sure that there's nothing safety related with that, because it is essentially abandoned buildings. We had a drone flyover, and we're going to be doing some work based on the results of that. Thirdly, PCB remediation that we have to do at the plant. We're forward in that. We have to work with DEEP at the state. But essentially, our engineering managers, Time Bond, have given us a scope of services for bidding an oversight of that remediation. It'll probably be about $350,000. And obviously, the remediation itself, they'll help us with the bids and everything. That's probably, we think it'll be about a couple of million. Now, all that money we have in the reserves, it's not a problem, but we have to do it. Finally, last of the projects, we put a new project in because on West Street, we asked we're asking for somebody to do a project for us because the development there, we think that the pump station there may need to have some, something added to it. So we're going to hire Ty and Bond for about $45,000 to do that work. Okay, that's some good news. A change order was, as you probably know, we have about $13 million of infrastructure work that we're doing based on some funds we were given as part of COVID remediation. Part of that work is ours for there's 3 pump stations that we're essentially remediating right now. And we had some change orders, and we have a credit of about, because of that, of $69,000, which will be given back to the town manager to use as he sees fits on any other infrastructure project.
Part of the ARPA project.
Okay, and there will be an action on something tonight further on. It's to do with the inspection that we did on 204 manholes last year. 38 of them were found in need of repair, and I'll leave it to the town manager, who is going to introduce the issue tonight. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Morrison. Any questions on sewer? Hearing none, let's go on to item 3 to Councilwoman Clark.
So the Technology
Technology.
Committee, you'll remember, this is a small working temporary committee, information gathering, and we have a talented group of individuals, and very thankful for everyone coming together to find some opportunities that we have in terms of technology in town. Lara Nichols, Pete Santago, Rebecca Savukol, Tom Lombardi, and myself. So we did meet and we established an organized approach to finding the information, a timeline, and we assigned some roles. So staff is going to give the heads of the departments a heads up that we'll be in contact later this week and next week, starting to gather the information. And then, overall deliverables are anticipated at the end of February. That's the timeline that we're working to. And they're going to be a list of top identified opportunities, priorities of those opportunities, and then some estimated costs associated with the opportunities. So again, just information gathering on some opportunities for technology within the town.
Yes, Councilman Palmieri.
Just a quick question. Is Jay Baker an ex officio member of the committee, or?
Well, we're interviewing each of the department heads, and he's the head of the IT department.
Right.
So yeah, we're going to be working.
Okay,
with
just
him.
wanted to make sure.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
And
perfect.
also the Board of Ed IT department as well is going to be part of the
Tyler will
interview.
be
Yeah.
part of that too. Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you, Jen, and thanks for bringing such a professionalized approach to that. Really appreciate that. Any questions on the technology subcommittee?
The notice did go out today to all the department heads, so they're looking forward to.
Thank you for doing that. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, let's move on to, we have a lot of people waiting, so we'll try to move through this briskly. Item number 6, Town Manager's Report and Communications. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I'm pleased to announce to you, some of you have already met him, but he hit the ground running, and he's doing very well in his first few weeks. But Tom Pizzio is our new library director in charge both of the library and the Barnes Museum. Tom, come on up.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sciota. Thank you, Chairman Chaplinsky, and the members of the Town Council for this time to introduce myself and to express my gratitude for the opportunity to be director of the Southington Public Library. I come to the position after 8 years as a director of the Brainerd Memorial Library in Haddam. Prior to that, I worked in the Madison and Guilford libraries, having started my career in New York City as a director of a number of public library branches for 10 years. I'm the chair-elect of the Connecticut Library Consortium, a past president of the Connecticut Library Association, and I was on the board of the Lyon Libraries Consortium, where I led and participated in a variety of committee works. The chance to be part of the strong efforts of the library board, the staff, the Friends Group, as well as the elected and appointed town leadership toward the common goals we share for Southington is an exciting one, especially at this juncture. I look forward to all we will accomplish in the new building, as do our patrons. But regardless of what the library looks like, the core values of respect, professionalism, positivity, and dedication will guide our service to the community, which deserves nothing less. So I thank you to this council for its important work on behalf of our citizens, and I'll take what questions you have and wish you a pleasant evening.
Questions for the library director? Please. Yeah, welcome, Tom, and thanks for hanging in there and waiting this evening. We appreciate it.
That's my pleasure.
And it's really good to see the full Tom Piezo instead of just the
DWI
close-up that we saw on your
headshot, yeah.
profile. Welcome to Southington. We look forward to working with you.
Right, thank you very much.
Cheers.
Tom. Tom, just so you know, the chairman's got about 6 overdue books out.
From third grade,
Laughing.
by the way.
Laughing.
Yeah, we have trouble with collections policies.
Yes.
Right, sewer department's gonna take care of that.
Okay, Mr. Town Manager. Item B, report of Board of Finance.
Next item is the Board of Finance. If you look at your Board of Finance, turn to page 2. The revenue so far in a positive. As you know, the interest rates have been really saving us. So we have a positive on that, plus the building permits has also saved us. As I mentioned to you before, we originally, when I budgeted, we budgeted about 3% for interest, but as you know, the interest rates are paying higher than that. So as long as the interest rates hold off, we should be decent when it comes to revenues for this year. Next page.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. And we also have on the Board of Finance report, if it's okay, make a quick comment.
I have more, but go ahead.
Oh, please, yeah, sorry. I thought you were moving on to item.
No. On page 4, as you all know, we received a $5 million grant from the state of Connecticut for the library. Since we have Tom here, I'll mention that. At the last meeting of the Board of Finance, we took the $5 million and we allocated it now. So now it's in the budget. Once you approve that, then of course we can now spend it toward the addition to the library. The next item is on page 5. Through many discussions starting in last February with myself, the police chief, and the Board of Finance, when we added some money for the overtime for the police, we allocated the necessity that in December, as I told you, we'd look at the budget. We did do that, and through internal transfers from the budget, as you'll see right here, they were able to do the 73rd certified police officer, which was in last year's budget, but we had cut that, and now it's done in this year's budget. No new money was used for that. Okay, so now the bigger ones. Page 6. As you know, the council initiated 2 chunks of money to go to both the fire and the police. We discussed that with the Board of Finance at their last meeting, and the motion was for the police for $441,887, which comes out of the undesignated fund balance, okay? And it was for, and I'll read them for you, the HURD trauma kits, the vehicle step and grill guards, SUV command cabinet, motorcycle, ATV, traffic solution shields, and security items, which I'm not going to go into because that was part of executive session. The total is $441,000. The second one was for the fire department for $325,000, and that's a full set of gears for $125,000. Improvements to the living and bunk areas for $75,000, then security items, which I'm not going to go into in public session, for $125,000. They chose not to move forward with the $45,000 item, which the chief said he can get a grant for, so that's not, what was discussed with you is not in this motion. Happy to answer any questions on the finance minutes.
Any questions? Yeah, please.
Just a quick
Councilwoman
question.
DiPaolo.
Mark, on page 3, where you talk about finishing up on the ARPA, with the ARPA funds, when is the purchase of a truck? What's the, like, which department is the truck for?
I'm sorry, Val, where are you?
At the top of page 3.
Yep.
So as per Mr. Schroeder, there are 2 big projects left to finish. One is the purchase of a truck.
Yep.
And
We have
which
no,
truck?
we have a purchase of a public works vehicle,
Okay,
and then we have the Western Little League's parking lot. Those are 2 biggies left.
right, those are the, and that's it on the,
That's it, I ran out of money.
yeah.
Any other questions for the town manager on Board of Finance? Okay, item C.
Okay, the next item is from the Public Works Committee. There are 2 items here. The first one is a recommendation for engineering designs for the Marion Avenue Bridge over the unnamed brook. So there's a job for you, Mr. Chair.
Finding a name for the brook.
Santo Brook.
The recommendation is to BL for the total of $181,280, which is the price plus a 10% contingency. Happy to answer any questions you have on that. And that's for design.
Any questions on the Brook project, item C? Item D?
The next one is for 2 pedestrian bridges. This is off of South End Road. I believe it's right near the new mill, if I recall. Correct. This is to do a design, or an inspection of these to make sure that they're in good shape. And that's recommendation is to SLR's proposal for $4,600, and that also was approved unanimously by the Public Works Committee. Any questions you have on that?
South End pedestrian bridge, anybody? No? Okay. Item E.
The next one, Tony touched on. This is the one where the Sewer Committee is recommending, unanimously recommending the repair of 38 sanitary manholes, and that to go to Green Mountain Pipeline Services. And the amount is $32,378, and that was approved unanimously by the Sewer Committee. Any questions on that? The next one is something you see every year from me. This is our Emergency Management Preparedness Grant. This is, we get about $21,000, $22,000, $23,000 to offset costs of emergency management. And we apply for it every year, and we usually are successful, as most towns are. So I need a resolution, and the resolution would have to be a roll call vote. No
Any questions?
There's no questions on that. I do have executive session tonight, and you'll be hearing from Attorney Gerard through Zoom technology, and Attorney Rick Ardone will be here in person, both in executive session. There'll be no action outside of executive session.
No action after executive session. Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Any questions for the Town Manager before we move on? Okay, thank you, Mr. Town Manager. Town Attorney's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My report actually relates to an email that was circulated by my office a little earlier, or late last week, I should say, with regard to ongoing obligations for the town and negotiations. I'll address it to the council, but it's really for the many, many individuals that are here tonight. Thank you all for being here. Per our town rules, the public communications portion of this meeting is only open to town residents. And because of the number of the people we have here, we're going to strictly enforce the 5-minute rule. By no means is anyone trying to, or certainly not anyone in the dais trying to limit your ability to communicate. But for the sake of organization and efficiency, we will try and keep things in an orderly manner with residents only being permitted to talk. And again, as we always do, enforcing the 5-minute rule. In addition to that, as is often a misconception during the public communications, the council, this is your opportunity to speak to the council as a whole, but it's not a dialogue. They cannot and presumably will not respond. It's not due to lack of respect or not having an answer. It's just that's the policy and procedure the town has. The objective is for you to voice your opinion, your concerns, your worries, or your concerns as it relates to the town or the issues that most notably will likely be the fire department negotiations. But please don't be offended, or more importantly, feel as though it's a slight if the council does not respond per their duties and as per the standard policy with the town. Comments aren't made with ongoing negotiations, especially with an arbitration likely proceeding. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any questions to the Town Attorney before we move on? Okay. With that, we're going to move into public communications. We are going to open the mic up. I'm going to add on to the Town Attorney's recommendation. The microphone is open for anybody who wants to come up and speak, 5 minutes per person. We'll need you to state your name and address for the record. It's for town residents. And if you're here and you're an employee of the town, but you don't live in town, you can also please come up and speak. No issues there as well, okay? Please.
Sean Hines, 90 Douglas Street. I would like to say I'm very happy that the town of Southington is focused on growth. However, I am a little concerned, and it's kind of ironic, the new development coming on West Street, it's going to bring a lot of business and a lot more residents. I am concerned more residents that our fire department's going to have to do a lot more with less, and I don't think that's fair.
Thank you.
Edwin Crandall, President, International Association of Firefighters, Local 2033. I stand before you this evening on behalf of the 35 members of my union, 10 of which live in Southington, to shed light on the glaring issue of contract negotiations between the town and the IFF Local 2033. Our most recent contract expired on June 30th, 2021, 936 days ago. Our negotiating committee presented fair proposals to the Town of Southington management team, unfortunately leading to immediate impasse. While we value the courtesy of confidentiality when it comes to collective bargaining, the safety of the community and my fellow union members takes precedence. Some may say, follow the collective bargaining process. We have. In fact, on September 11th, 2023, the State Board of Arbitration and Mediation ruled the following. Quote, the panel unanimously finds that the practice of not backfilling a three-man company and having it respond to a fire as a two-man company under the circumstances of this case raises a legitimate concern as to the health and safety of firefighters responding under this scenario. As such, it is a mandatory subject of bargaining and may be considered by the panel on the merits. Case number 2016 MBA 226. This ruling speaks volumes, as unanimous decisions are hard to achieve. If the ruling isn't enough, the nearly $80,000 2022 Fire Department Master Plan study, paid for by taxpayers and conducted by an independent third party, placed focus on apparatus staffing, strongly recommending staffing all engines and ladder trucks with 4 personnel, an industry standard. Furthermore, every neighboring department with career staffing operates with at least 1 officer and 2 firefighters at all times on all staffed apparatus. Southington Fire Department current policy requires apparatus that respond mutual aid to these cities and towns be staffed with a minimum of 1 officer and 2 firefighters. This is a contradicting policy, meaning we offer a more adequate response for mutual aid requests, but not for responses in our own community. Why are the facts not good enough? Why does the town continue to gamble with our lives? Is this truly about $266, $129 in overtime savings in a town that is reporting their $2.2 million ahead in revenue mid-budget year? The basis of our contract proposals is not asking the town to hire additional firefighters. We are asking the town to budget adequately to maintain all current positions. In a recently released public statement from the town council chair on January 11th, he states, the town manager has been leading the contract negotiations with the fire department bargaining unit, as he has done with all 5 other town government bargaining units successfully in the last couple of years. We ask, what is the measurement of success for negotiating the other 5 union contracts? Is the measurement of success in regards to the fire contract allowing continued unsafe working conditions as ruled by the State Board of Arbitration and Mediation? Is it keeping us paid significantly less than our peers in neighboring fire departments? Is it keeping our pay over 20% less than our counterparts at the Southington Police Department? Lastly, we keep hearing that this matter cannot be discussed because we are in arbitration. Arbitration is not scheduled to begin until February 9th, 2024. We thought that the town would have seen the importance in resolving this matter and would have been more willing to discuss this over the last few months. On behalf of the professional firefighters of Local 2033, our wives, kids, and the citizens, your citizens, that we are sworn to protect, I urge you to discuss and resolve this matter.
Thank you. Is anybody else interested in speaking tonight? Please state your name and address for the record, sir.
Good evening, council members. My name is Rick Hart. I live at 139 Summit Street in Plantsville. Just a little background. I retired from the Waterbury Fire Department after 32 years, retiring as a deputy chief. And I find it borderline criminal that the Southington Fire Department, as a result of inaction and total disregard for public safety and the safety and security of the citizens of Southington by this council, allows for the staffing levels of the department to be inherently dangerous to the firefighters, the people are sworn to protect. I know for a fact that Bristol and Meriden have provided automatic aid for structure fires in this town of Southington 12 times last year, and most recently, a week and a half ago. It's gotten so critically dangerous that Southington Fire Department was on and responded to a motor vehicle accident on 691, and a structure fire alarm came in for Russell Speeder Car Wash on Queen Street, and Bristol Engine 4 was the first responding unit on scene. Having 6 members on duty is absolutely criminal. The safety and security of those personnel and the people are at jeopardy every time they go out the door. I think the 2022 study that you, the council, commissioned by ESCI for approximately $80,000 that we, the taxpayers, paid for, sums up the issue on page 2, and I quote, "The Southington Fire Department is in the midst of an identity crisis while simultaneously suffering from actual and perceived political oppression," end quote. There's nothing perceived about the political oppression. The council has turned a blind eye to the staffing crisis facing the department today and the lack of response by the volunteers. This study, by all appearances, has been summarily dismissed by the council as evidenced in the ongoing arbitration over the contract with firefighters. The notion, quote, that nothing can be done because it's in arbitration, end quote, is a false narrative perpetuated by this council and town manager. The two parties can indeed come to an agreement and settle this contract devoid of an arbitration panel. Contained within the study was recommendation 3.1, which is explicit. All staffed engines and ladder trucks should have a minimum of 4 personnel, which is in line with the NFPA. NFPA 1710, which I have a copy of, which is a very compelling read, which I urge you to read, digest, is a national consensus standard adopted by departments across the country that details staffing levels for departments both large and small. While the standard isn't set in statute or regulation, it does, by virtue of consensus, carry litigious power. Now, I know 1720 is the standard you have all used in your arguments, but 1720 also sets staffing levels, and the minimum staffing level is 15 on scene within 9 minutes. And this is for communities with a population density of 1,000 people per square mile. Southington's population density is 1,212 people per square mile, according to the 2020 census. So as of right now, we are 9 firefighters short for the initial response for a single-family residential structure fire, which places the city at risk due to your willful disregard of the standard. And I have to say that, fortunately for all of us, we're in the safest place in Southington tonight with everyone that's here. But it's the only time that you're truly safe, because you won't see this many firefighters on scene in Southington ever. I find these facts abhorrent as a taxpayer, that you intentionally place the firefighters, public, and visitors to this city in peril. Failure to follow a nationally recognized standard opens the municipality to litigation and fines administered by OSHA for violating the general duty clause of OSHA. All municipalities are required by OSHA to be cognizant of national standards and abide by them. And as a result of the inaction of this town manager and council, it opens the city to legal action. Finally, the majority slate of councilors ran on a platform of supporting public safety. I know, I got the mailers. But this is not how you support public safety. So do the right thing by the citizens and the firefighters, settle the contract, staff the department to a level that provides safety and security for the city and is in compliance with the NFPA standards. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hart.
My name's Joe DePace. I'm up at Mountain Edge, good friend of Jim Shamley. I'm going to look at a different avenue. I voted for most of you guys up here. And if you think about it, you guys really missed the picture. If you increase staffing, it's going to cost you X. You decrease your ISO rating. You guys know what ISO rating is? Apparently not. ISO rating, you could drop your insurance for everybody in town. I guarantee every one of you, Democrats, Republicans, you go to the town, we increase staff and it costs X, but we're going to save 3X on ISO. Every one of you will get reelected again. ISO rating, you guys, mixed department. I came from volunteer. I've been an old man, over 40 years in the fire service. ISO rating will decrease your insurance, hence save you lots and lots of money. You're not looking at it that way. You're looking at staff and stuff like that. Looking at how much money you could save the town. If you go to the town people and say, I'm going to save you this much money in insurance, at the times of what's going on right now with Biden economics, and you say to the town, because we lower ISO rating, I'm going to save you this much money. I guarantee every one of you is going to get reelected. And I'll be the first one out there if you increase the staffing to support you. Look at it a different way. You increase staffing, you decrease the insurance. You have a huge tax base. And you go to them, we're going to lower your tax rate. I don't know what more I have to say. You lower the tax rate, insurance rate for all these businesses and all these people and everyone on your board, Democrat, Republican, I don't care who you are, you're going to get reelected because you're lowering everyday bills for the people. Think about the ISO rating. If you don't know what the ISO rating is, learn what it is, and you could save a lot of money as a town. I come from East Hartford. We're down to 2. We save millions of dollars for businesses for insurance rate. You want to save a lot of money for the town? You want to make yourselves look good? Lower your ISO rating. Increase the staffing. Here's another thing. 1710 was talking about 14 to 17 guys for a house fire. We have certain jobs, water supply, rescue, ventilation, fire suppression. You tell us right now, what job don't you want done? You want us to save your pets? Or you don't want us to save your pets because we don't have enough guys? You tell us what job, we don't have enough guys. You got 6, 8 guys? You tell us right now, what job don't you do? Because we don't have enough guys in town, Southington. As a town right now, here's your chance. Because you only got 8 guys. I don't want you to save my house. Property conversation. I don't want you to save my kids. I don't want you to save my pets. You say it right now because we don't have enough guys. I don't care about your fireman safety, 2 in, 2 out rule. You tell us what job you don't want done at a house fire. Simple house fire. They say 14 to 17. After 40 years, I think it's up to around 22, 26. Safety officer, all this. What job, you tell us tonight, what job don't you want us to do? Water supply, rescue, your kids, your pets. We're only limited so much. It's up to you guys. If you want us to save people, property, increase staffing, and on the benefit is you can lower your insurance rate. It lowers your insurance rate. You know how good you guys will look? Mike, you look good already. But really, seriously. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joe.
My name is Richard Mayhew. I live at 180 Deer Run, Plantsville. I retired after 24 years as a firefighter paramedic for the Town of Hamden Fire Service. Regarding minimum manning of fire apparatus, I could speak from experience. Fortunately, across this country, more and more departments are realizing the urgency and the necessity to have minimal staffing for the fire apparatus. Unfortunately, Southington is not there yet. This is typical for fire departments across our country. The most crucial time for fighting any fire is the very first few minutes after the first apparatus arrives. It literally means life or death. And if that first crew is undermanned, chances for death and injury increases exponentially for civilians and firefighters. Years later, my career abruptly ended with a heart attack while on duty. The town of Hamden was financially responsible for my heart and hypertension disability. It was a substantial amount of money. I'm asking the town council not to be penny wise and pound foolish regarding minimal staffing, because you will pay now or pay later. Undermanned fire crews sustained increased disabling injuries because they are trying to do the work of multiple firefighters. This also burdens the town with additional costs of paying for injury leave and medical treatments. The firefighting profession is unique and stands alone. But if we don't arrive at the fight with a full team roster, we will suffer unimaginable costs. Give our Southington firefighters correct minimum staffing so they can effectively fight to save the lives and health of our citizens and our firefighters. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew.
Good evening. My name is Mark Saucier. I live at 81 Ashwell Drive in Plantsville. I'm a hometown guy. I was born at Bradley Hospital. I graduated Southington High School. My whole family lives in town. It's lived in this town all my life. I'm a taxpayer, and I don't think we should be fiscally responsible, which Southington usually is. But you can't argue safety. I was a member of Headquarters Company, Southington Fire Department Headquarters Company, for 37 years. When I was hired, there was 150 volunteers across 5 fire stations that were manned. There were 16 paid guys, 4 per shift, 2 chiefs, and a part-time secretary. If I understand this right, I've been retired for 6 years, so we're arguing about going from 4 guys 43 years ago to 6 guys maybe 43 years later. The town has grown. Unfortunately, it's a nationwide trend. It's hard to keep volunteers and find volunteers. The second half of my career, roughly, was I was a shift commander. And I loved the job. I was very glad to have the job. But the hardest part of that job, for me anyway, was standing in front of a burning building and saying, okay, do I send my people in to a burning building and try to facilitate a rescue, or is it too far gone and do I leave them out? And the biggest thing is not knowing who's behind us, who's going to back us up. We show up with 3 guys, 4 guys, who's going to back us up? I don't know that. And as a shift commander, you're responsible to send people inside a burning building, and you're liable for them. So that was the hardest part of the job for me. You can't argue safety. We're talking about one member, another trained member increases the safety level just being there. It's really hard. And over 37 years, we've had this argument, and we've had this argument, and we've had this argument. And you can't argue safety. So the studies are accurate. People do this for a living. The town paid tons of money to have this done. I think this was the 3rd or 4th study that was done in my career. And they all look at it, it's like, oh yeah, well, that's going to cost money, we'll put that away. You can't keep kicking that can down the road. So look at the study, look at the data, do the math. The union is not asking for a lot here, and we're talking about public safety. My family lives in this town. Your family lives in this town. you can't argue that stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saucier. Come on, don't be shy. Who's next? Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Keith Ciccarello, 332 Lazy Lane. I'm here to express my support for the Southington Career Firefighters. I have been a career firefighter with the City of New Britain for 20 years, and I'd just like to briefly talk about the staffing levels at headquarters. I think it's a disservice to the residents and the firefighters to allow any company to drop staffing to 2 firefighters minimum, let alone the ladder company out of headquarters. In New Britain, we staff both of our ladders with 4-man minimums. And I know you can't compare Southington to New Britain in a lot of ways, but when there's a fire, we all do the same job. We have to perform the same tasks no matter what town you're in. The 3 people that are on that ladder truck, they all have an assigned job. And when the staffing drops to 2 people, certain tasks are not getting completed. It could be anything from setting up the ladder truck quickly to make a rescue, searching the fire floor, or more dangerously above the fire. It could be venting rooms, roofs, or windows to provide relief for victims from the deadly heat and gases of a fire. The point is, there are many things that need to be accomplished on the fire emergency scene. In New Britain, we barely get it done with 4 people, and I just want to know how the Southington firefighters are expected to do it with 2 safely. Also, because of these current staffing practices, when a fire occurs in town, outside help is needed. Mutual aid is activated, and New Britain sends 3 vehicles with 9 personnel. In reality, my home is better protected by the taxpayers of New Britain than it is by my own town. The small savings that the town gains jeopardizes not only the firefighters' safety, but the residents as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Please come on up if anybody else wants to talk. Sure.
Hi there. Tom Catricala, 204 Stonegate Road. When I learned that almost 3 years had gone by and the town hadn't reached an agreement with the firefighters union, I was shocked and appalled, like many people here. 900 days is a long time for a contract negotiation to take. I'm an activist and organizer in New Haven. It's a red flag. It certainly was a red flag when I learned it. With the recent Department of Labor ruling, it's become apparent how hard the town's been fighting against the needs of the paid firefighters, and by extension, the rest of the town. To me, the answer seems obvious. If we take our firefighters' lives seriously, if we take the safety of our residents seriously, we need 3-man crews at minimum. As of now, the town is operating in a fashion that puts the public safety at risk. There's been a lot of talk of public safety. If you got some of the mailers last year, public safety. Everyone loves to talk public safety. When I hear public safety from politicians, what I'm really hearing is the police, usually. And again, based on some of the mailers, that much is evident. But public safety is a umbrella term that encompasses, yes, the police, but also firefighters and another institution, EMS, that is often forgotten. What frustrates me as a resident and as a homeowner and as a voter is the lip service from both sides of the political aisle while being the cause and prolonging the public safety crisis we've had for the last 900 days. Out of the 5 public unions seeing such aggressive tactics towards one tells me it's either, there's some beef there or we just have a contempt for organized labor. That much is expected from Republicans, but Democrats need to do better. Thank you.
Anybody else? Sir, you coming up? If anybody else is gonna speak, please make your way down and please line up in the area. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Steve Schrag. I live at 36 Buckland Street, Unit 14. I'm new to Southington, so I'm listening to what a lot of people have to say about the history of this, which is important. I'm here in support of the firefighters because of something else I do in my life. I've spent 30 years working for worker safety. And the fact is, understaffing is one of the single most important factors in making sure that people go home healthy every day. We saw this recently in Eastern Connecticut when a nurse doing a home visit was killed by her patient because she was working alone. Recently, we heard from railroad workers about how the railroad workers end up having understaffing so bad they might have only one person handling a 20-mile train. So it's not surprised that we had the derailment in Ohio. The fact is, having enough people to do the work is crucial to doing the work safely. And the fact is, you have before you apparently a study done that basically says that you should not fall below 4 people for engines, for all staffed engines and ladder trucks. But currently, it is below that. NFPA 1710 that was mentioned talks about adequate staffing for all trucks and all engines. It talks about specifically minimum for 4 for engines and a minimum for 4 for trucks. Now, NFPA is a recommended standard, and as Rick mentioned, it is enforced by OSHA. But more importantly, it's a consensus standard. It wasn't just pulled out of thin air. It was pulled out of lots of people working together to pull up numbers and figure out what's going to be safe for both the public and for the workers that protect us. It's important for you to consider that we don't want to have another firefighter hurt in our town. We don't want to have another house burned down and somebody get hurt in the process. And I think that 936 days is a long time to wait to get some kind of dignity for the workers to do that, protect us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming out. Just your name and address for the record,
Yep,
please.
my patient's name is Covell. I live at 110 Dunham Place. My husband is a firefighter.
And your last name, ma'am?
Oh, Fusco, F-U-S-C-O.
Fusco. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone that came out tonight. I have friends from Bristol, Wallingford, East Hartford that have come out to support. Yes, while it's all in the public safety, I'm concerned about my husband's safety and all of the wives here as well. They let their husbands go out 24-hour shifts. Sometimes we don't hear back from them for hours. My main concern is getting my husband home safely and getting all of his brothers home safely. So I think we need to readjust and reevaluate what's important. While everyone's homes are important, their lives are more important.
Thank you. Good evening.
I'm Rachel Gerard. I live at 22 Brentwood. My husband's also a firefighter. So I just wanted to follow up on the previous speaker he said, what don't you want done? Because I'll tell you. So there was a structure fire on Summer Street a few months back. My husband was driving. His job's to stay with the apparatus. However, we didn't hire the first guy back. So he had to make the decision. Does he stay with the apparatus or does he let his fellow firefighter go in one man to a house fire? Should never happen. Should never happen. It should always be 2 in, 2 out. But my husband shouldn't be the one to have to make that call either. We are not asking for additional firefighters. We're asking to hire who should already be there. And it's us who are waiting up for the text, the call to hear that they're safe. It's really your responsibility to make sure our husbands, fathers, brothers, sons come home safe to us. Don't make me the one to tell that, hey, daddy's not coming home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Now we heard from the wives. Now you're going to hear from the mom of the firefighter. Yes, we are here. We do exist, and we have a very powerful voice.
Just your name and address for the record.
Diane Salmieri. I
Thank
live
you,
on
Diane.
Atwater Street in Plantsville. Hi, Chris. You were one of my son's teachers. I'm sure you want to see him come home safely, right? Yes, as you all do. I'm looking around the room, and I cannot believe the support from the other towns that we're getting more from than we are from our own town here. I don't understand it. I'm paying taxes in this town. Not bad enough. Thank you. Thank you. I look at my son, and I know these wives wait and I wait for my son. I hear those sirens, and I pray. when I hear the sirens because he tells me the situation at the department. It's just awful. I encourage him. He loves his job. He loves it. He loves what he does. I raised a wonderful, wonderful man, and his wife is here, who I want him to go home to her, right? And I'm just asking, I know a lot of you look like you're bored with this whole thing, but we're not bored, and we're not going to stop. And you're going to keep hearing from all of us until this is resolved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Salmira.
Mike Schneider, 405 Loper Street. Been a fireman for 32 years, retired last January. I've seen it, done it. We had 4-man crews where I came from, the department I came from. It was a hard enough job to do. All my 23 years at where I was, my daughter's biggest fear when I left that door and gave her a kiss goodbye was, is Daddy coming home? Why don't you make it a little easier on the people that choose this job? They choose this job, but only a certain few can do it. Let's make it easier for all of them to go home and see their families. Because you don't want, it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. We don't need another 9/11 to say, oh, we don't have the manpower, we don't have the equipment. Let's do something productive and give them what they need.
Thank you, Mike.
Good evening, Tommy Cherico, 17 Walnut Street. I'll be very brief. I'm not going to repeat what everyone said, but as a career firefighter in a different city and a taxpayer, I just don't understand the issue here. It's putting my family's lives at risk. It's putting these guys' lives at risk. Don't understand it. Very simple. With the growth we're seeing in town, this seems very simple. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Alan Zygmunt. I live on Marion Avenue. I got hired by the town of Southington Fire Department in 1988. The first day I started, there were 4 members on duty. When I retired, 30 years later, there were 6 members on duty. The town has grown massively in those 30 years, and the department stays stagnant. Until the decision makers of this town start putting fire protection as a priority, it will remain an illusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ziegler. Anybody else? Thank you. If anyone else is going to speak, please line up. Thank you. Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening. My name is John Strelacci. I live at 103 Fox Run, Southington. I've been on a fire department for the start of my 37th year, neighboring town. And the author Kurt Vonnegut said a wonderful thing. He said, there's no more stirring image of man's humanity to man than the fire engine. And I believe that. For those of us who've rounded a corner when someone's house is on fire or someone's in cardiac arrest, the look on these people's faces when they know their salvation is coming around the corner, it's a sight to see. And in the current situation, in Southington, my hometown, where I put my kids through school, having 2 guys fight a fire just doesn't work. In my town, we have a minimum of 3 on an engine, and even that is very hard. To take 200 feet of fire hose on your shoulder on a day like this, a night like this, and try to get upstairs to the 3rd floor, past bicycles and stored stuff in the stairs, kicking the kinks out because you fear that you wouldn't be able to get water because the hose is kinked. That's our job. And how that first line goes at a working fire is how the whole operation goes. It's like taking your boat away from the dock and kicking over your tackle box. The whole thing's not going to go well. And these people, that symbol is an empty symbol because when people drive up and down Route 10, past the firehouse next door, past the one on River Street, past the one in Milldale, they see fire trucks in there. And that's kind of the implicit promise that people look at, like, the town's got our back. We have a fire station right next to us. Nothing bad is gonna happen to us tonight. And what they don't realize is that it's an empty promise because the trucks themselves are empty. Please increase the staffing here. We ask a lot of these people. They put their lives on their line, and it's super unfair to keep them under the current situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Strelacci. Anybody else? You have plenty of time, please. If anybody else wants to speak, is there anybody in the corridor that wants to speak? We're good? Okay. Last call. Any other during public communications? Okay, with that, we'll close public communications, and I'll just say, thank you very much, everybody, for coming out. We appreciate it. We've had a strong relationship with the public safety here in Southington for many, many years. We're going to keep that up. You've been heard. We've heard you, and we're going to digest that, and we appreciate everything that you've come out and told us. Thank you. Why don't we take a 5-minute recess, and then we'll pick back up in 5 minutes.
Madam Chair. Where's the dollar jar?
All right.
Troiano, it's TR. Yes, okay.
Let's see if he's ready.
Are we missing anybody? We have everybody here, yes.
All set? Yeah, he's good. Okay, we're all set.
Okay, we're back in session. We are recording, confirmed?
Yes, we are.
Okay. We are now moving into item number 9, old business. Item A, action on municipal improvement tax abatement outside the enterprise zone. This is what our economic development coordinator, who's miraculously still here, presented a little bit earlier in the meeting.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve as presented by our economic development coordinator.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a motion and a second from Mr. Morrison. Any discussion on that?
Mr. Chair, just in the interest of time, just to speed it up, I spoke earlier about why I think this is important, and I commend Mr. Perillo. He's constantly looking out for the best interests of our town, and we have to help businesses, especially in this horrible financial climate. If a business wants to improve, like adding $100,000 to their business so they can stay in business, I'm all for the tax abatement. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Del Santo. Any other discussion items? No? Okay, we can take a voice vote on this one? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. We're going to need a roll call on the action on the Board of Finance. I'm looking for a motion first to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Mr. Del Santo and Mr. Palmieri. This does include the PD funds of $441,000 approximately, and the fire department funds of $325,000, as indicated in the Board of Finance that was passed by the Board of Finance. Any discussion on those? No discussion. Well, I'll just say I'm very thankful for all of the folks who were involved in, putting together. I know that, there was, the timeframe was quite tight. We're in the middle of the budget process, and at the same time, we had our chiefs, both in fire and police, putting these together and putting together, an enhancement package that's going to make and help our fire department and our police officers more safe in today's environment. So I appreciate the work of everybody who put these together, and also the Board of Finance for sending it to us. Any other discussion? If not, let's call the roll, Madam Town Clerk.
DiPaolo?
Yes?
Morelli?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Palmieri?
Yes.
Clock?
Yes.
Del Santo?
Yes.
Chaplinsky?
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Thanks, everybody. Item C, action on recommendation of engineering design services for Marion Avenue Bridge over the unnamed brook.
So moved, Mr. Chair, as presented in our packet.
Thank you, Councilwoman
I'll
DiPaolo
second that.
and Mr. Councilman Del Santo. Any discussion on that?
El Santo Brook has a nice ring.
Okay.
You don't have to make that decision.
You know the rule on naming things, right? You can't be living. You have to be dead for 5 years. So if you're really wishing that,
6 years from now.
okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes 7-0. Item D, action on recommendations for South End pedestrian bridge inspections.
So moved, Mr. Chair. Motion
Thank
to
you,
approve,
Mr. Del Santo. And Mr. Morelli, as presented.
As presented by the town manager's report.
Thank you. Any discussion? No discussion on pedestrian bridges. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Item E, action on WPC recommendation for full year 2023-24 sanitary manhole repair project.
Motion to approve as outlined.
Mr. Morelli,
Second.
second.
Mr. Morrison.
Okay, Mr. Morrison, second. On this one, we're going to look for a roll call vote. But first, any discussion on this?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out.
I'm sorry, this was a manhole repair.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly point out that the money is already there. It's coming out of the sewer maintenance account. So the money is already, available. It's not an extra expense.
Very good. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. The next one, we're going to have a roll call vote, Madam Town Clerk. It's item F, action on EMPG resolution.
Motion to approve as presented by the town manager.
Second?
Councilman Palmieri, Councilwoman DiPaolo. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
DiPaolo?
Yes?
Morelli?
Yes.
Morrison?
Yes.
Palmieri?
Yes.
Clock?
Yes.
Del Santo?
Yes.
Chaplinsky?
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item 10, new business, action A, action on Apple Harvest Festival Coordinator Contract. Chris,
Motion
did you want to?
Yep, motion to award Dave LaPre, the Apple Harvest Festival Coordinator, for the sum of $25,000 annually.
Second, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion and a second, and that's coming from the Apple Harvest Fund, which is funded wholly by the revenues from the Apple Harvest, not from any taxpayer funds.
And once again, I should have said, again, this is for 2024 and 2025.
2-year contract.
2 years, $25,000 annually.
Thank you. Anybody else have questions? Mr.
Just a
Del Santo?
discussion item. I think Mr. LaPre and eventually Ms. Nichols do a super job. I mean, everyone knows that's my 2 favorite weekends of the year. And the Apple Harvest Festival runs like a well-oiled machine. No matter who ran it, but we know for certain that Mr. LaPre can do it and Ms. Nichols could do it. So we're going to get to that vote next. But just, we need to continue that. And I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable with them at the helm.
Thank you, Councilman Del Santo. Any other discussion on that?
I'd just like to comment that I've been involved the last couple of years as a volunteer, and there are a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, a lot. So I think that they do a fantastic job.
Thank you. Councilman Moran?
Just want to confirm with the
Vice
clerk,
Chair.
I think I emailed you the contracts as well for the minutes? Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item B, action on Apple Harvest Assistant Coordinator Contract.
Motion to award the Apple Harvest Festival Assistant Coordinator to Lara Nichols for 2024 and 2025 for $7,500 annually.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Same info. Very confident they're going to do a great job.
Thank you. Thank
Just
you,
a
Mr.
quick
Vice Chair.
point, too, on the written contract, I don't know if you want to check the date on that, because she has January 9, 2024 to January 9, 2025.
Which page, Val?
It needs one more year added to it.
Yeah, just make sure that, I don't know if you're using this as the,
Yeah, this is what she, this was actually what she sent in as a
right,
proposal.
so just, it should be probably, you want to go through the full year of
Right.
2025, right?
6, right?
So it's for the modified contract through 2026.
Yeah. just-
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman DiPaolo. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Action on item C, action on Apple Harvest Festival Sponsorship Coordinator Contract.
Motion to award the Apple Harvest Festival Sponsorship Consultant Coordinator position to Melissa Kakuza. Once again, her contract is commission-based.
We have a motion.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, the only thing I'll say about that is a friend of mine who owns a clothing company in Massachusetts last year wanted to get in, sold out. So we're doing something right if we get sponsorship. And they're, yeah.
Get in early.
And I told her, I already reminded her, I'm going to remind her like in
Give me
next
your
couple
name
of
this year.
weeks. Yeah, right.
Excellent. Any other comments? Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number D, tax refunds. Who's going to stand in today? Who's-
Val would have to stand in. She's the next senior Democrat.
So
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we accept the tax refunds as outlined in our package.
Thank you, Councilwoman DiPaolo. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Any comments on the tax refunds? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Last one, appointments, Marlude. It's your time to shine. Thank you for staying this evening. We appreciate it. This is letter E appointments. Number 1, Zoning Board of Appeals alternate, 1 member, 4-year term expiring November 2025. We're looking for a motion.
Yeah, so, Mr. Chair, I would like to make a motion to appoint Marlude Pierre Lewis to the Zoning Board of Appeals as an alternate, and just want to give a brief bio. She lives at 106 Oak Street. Currently, Marlude is an Associate Director of Analytics with Access Health Connecticut, and she's also an Information Technology Specialist in the U.S. Army Reserve. She holds a Master of Science in Business Analytics from Quinnipiac University, and she volunteers as a board member with the Outreach to Haiti organization and a past volunteer with the Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. So it's been a pleasure to meet Marlude. I think she's going to be an excellent addition to the zoning board of appeals and a well-qualified candidate.
Thank you.
And I'll gladly second that nomination.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? Marlou, do we pronounce your name Pierre Louis or Louis? What's the proper pronunciation? Both, okay. Okay. Any other discussion points? Pierre Louis. Thank you for clarifying.
We'll get something to the clerk with the proper spelling.
Any other discussion?
Tell us all the information so we can.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you for the nominations. And we had a second, right?
Yes, I second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Welcome. Welcome. Congratulations. Looking forward to seeing all the great things.
If you file your W-2 with my office, we're going to triple the salary of the person before you.
You will have to go to Town Hall and see the clerk's office. She'll give you some paperwork to fill out and also swear you in as well. Thank you. Good luck.
That's true.
Your meetings run longer than ours, by the way, so good luck. All right. All right, we are now going to look for a motion. Mr. Town Manager, did you want to introduce the executive session?
Yes, it's going to be for pending litigation. Via Zoom is going to be Tom, and then we're going to have Alex here for in person. Two different matters.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
And we're going to have the town attorney in with us.
If he wants to stay. It's up
Yeah,
to him. Yep.
thank you. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We're now moving into executive session, and we're going to use this room for everybody.